The Lena boys can't be stopped in their never-ending search for the Oak Island wealth. They keep pushing the limits and getting closer with each risky move. Get ready for the biggest surprise of your life as we reveal their newest find. The Lena boys are changing the story of Drive, and what happens next is truly amazing because what they discovered next might shock you. Did they finally find the gold? Keep watching to find out. A hammer was used by Duma Contracting to grab the last 10 feet of the garden shaft in the money pit location. Once they have removed any debris and water from the area, they will then proceed to renovate the remaining 10 feet just as they have done with the 72 feet above it. Samples of water, soil, and timber obtained from the shaft have all been shown to contain high amounts of gold according to various tests. According to Marty, the reason for renovating the garden is so that they can have a better understanding of what lies beneath it. There is a garden shaft that may be found at the bottom of the shaft, below it, and also to the sides of it. While this is going on, Rick and the other members of the team are still in the swamp where they are continuing their search for a paved region that appears to be a continuation of the paved area that was discovered below the eye of the swamp in the year 1200 AD. In addition, there is a ramp that leads to a previously found cobblestone route that ascends the side of the marsh, which is fashioned like a triangle. It is possible to reach the money pit location by way of a gigantic tombstone pit that is located at the bottom of the marsh. Ladd is required to depart in order to complete some permits, however, they do not specify what the permits are for. In addition, Miriam shows up to take his position. According to her, in order for them to be able to accomplish any kind of excavation, they must first remove the mud from the region. They are the ones who have seen that the job has been done extremely well and have come and praise it. Both Garin, an expert in metal detectors, and Jack Bagley arrive at Lot 5 in order to begin the process of excavating metals that had been exploited for mining purposes in the past. I am grateful to you. The first item is a late 1700 square, but the next one is this or our Le token. Gary suspects it to be Roman, like the coin he has found others like it off Oak Island. They immediately take it to the lab. Emulator reveals that it comes from a mine either in Iran or Sardinia off the coast of Italy. They will continue to try to identify the token. I don't know. Lot 5 was discovered prior to the middle of this season. It was owned by someone else and was off limits to the production. Since then, numerous discoveries have been made there. Among the discoveries that have been made there are half of a Roman coin that could be as old as 300 BC. The following day, members of the team get together in the war room with researchers who have brought a presentation of information that may explain the findings in Lot 5 and the operations that took place in the swamp in the latter time frame when they would have been fleeing persecution by the Pope and King of France, who believed that the Templars were too rich and powerful. There is proof of Templar journeys to North America. These trips occurred in both the 11th and 14th centuries. A recent paper that was discovered by an Italian researcher has a date of 1340 and has maps that demonstrate that people traveled to North America a significant amount of time before Christopher Columbus. Rick is of the opinion that the work that was done on Oak Island was carried out at various states but with the same goal in mind. It is also revealed by one of the researchers that he will be traveling to look at those records and that he has also obtained access to the Vatican archives in order to continue his research. Extremely exciting in the future. When Lead Nyman returns to Lot 5, he discloses that a former landowner named Robert Young, who had purchased property in Father Dullen, had called Lou in August of this year to take a look at this circular stone structure. During the time, L was under the impression that it was the floor of a cell. Nevertheless, in light of current discoveries, he will excavate a section in order to better understand what it is. Like the historic city of Kolkata, which is known as Jara, is depicted on the wall at the bottom of their garden shaft where the pier is half falls. The operator of the crane discovered a portion of a barrel while working in the garden shaft. Another section of a barrel has been discovered by the crew, including in the swamp, but they have never discovered a hoop prick. Rick draws attention to the fact that it must have originated from a very large barrel. Billy brings the digger into the swamp so that he can proceed to excavate other portions of the stone ramp within the swamp. It is determined by the team that their ramp's boundary is located on this side. The next time on what may be a 2-hour season finale of The Curse of Oak Island, which has not yet been given a name, as of early Wednesday morning, no other information will be provided. Exactly like the original money pit, the circular stone feature that is located on Lot 5 has a diameter of 13 feet. After Gary discovers whatever it is, he later asserts that it must be the oldest metal artifact discovered on Oak Island. In response, Blacksmith K and Legg assert that it is the oldest he has ever seen in all of Nova Scotia. Furthermore, this expert asserts that he is 100% certain that something, possibly the token from episode 20, is Roman and that it dates back to the 5th century. Basically, this episode explains that during the course of their exploration of Oak Island, the team made a number of findings, which are essentially covered in this episode. Early in, Humans Contracting continued their work on the garden shaft, rehabilitating the last 10 feet in order to ascertain the items that were located below. Rick and other members of the team discovered a paved area and ran in the swamp at the same time. It is possible that these features are connected to the money pit. Newman Came uncovered roundstone feature on Lot 5 that they intend to explore in the future. Another discovery was a portion of a barrel that had a hoop attached to its drone. A specialist in metal detection discovered a lead token that was quite elaborate and was thought to have been Roman in origin. The token was found in their mine in Italy. The informat iron that was presented by the researchers suggests that the Templars traveled to North America between the 11th and 14th centuries, which could explain the discoveries that were made in Lot 5. There will be a continuation of the investigation into the circular stone feature as well as the possibility of findings at the money pit in the season finale, which is scheduled to be a 2-hour episode with a garden shaft that is 82 feet deep and 78 feet deep. Dumac Contracting is grabbing the hammer following the removal of the debris and water. They will complete the refurbishment by installing new wood that is resistant to water contact. The first thing that they will do is perform a probe drilling operation on all 4 sides and straight down in order to identify whether or not there are any voids that could be indicative of tunnels or an offset chamber, as they have done all the way down in addition to the water and soil samples that were taken from the garden. It was ascertained that the original wood had a considerable quantity of gold and the trace elements that are associated with it. They are of the opinion that the potential origin of the gold trace evidence is somewhere within the baby blob that is pictured above, perhaps between 80 and 120 feet below the surface. This is the opinion of both the geophysicist and the hydrogeologist. During the course of digging, Behold's Choice Digging found indications of a tunnel in 3 of the B holes that they were drilling. It is possible to reach the garden shaft through this tunnel in a very direct manner. Duma Contracting will be able to make advantage of this in the forthcoming time period. The event that occurred at Duma Contracting did not have any real-world effects. Contrary to the widespread notion, the island was selected for the purpose of conducting an investigation into a token that was found on Lot 5. Through her investigation, Emma was able to establish that the token originated in either Iran or Sardinia, which is a region that is situated off the coast of Italy. He has come upon the culture that he feels could be its twin, and that dates back to Rome in the 5th century. He believes that this piece was created by the same person. After that, he goes on to assert that a piece that is extremely comparable to this one was found on a Roman site in the United Kingdom. When Marty inquires about the degree of certainty he possesses regarding the origin and dating, Sandy says that he is 100% positive about each of these matters. Documents connected to that object that were acquired from the British Museum are in his possession. The Roman half coin that was found was also found in Lot 5, which contained the COA location in the United Kingdom is 13 m away from Royston Cave, which is a Templar initiation chamber that was visited by members of the team earlier in the year 2022. G discovers this information after checking his phone and discovering that their location is in the United Kingdom. There is also the suggestion made by Gary that they proceed with the search of Lot 5 in order to excavate a portion of the circular stone feature that is situated in close proximity to the spot where the coin and token were found. Ladd and Alex have made their way back to the location of Lot 5 20 years ago. A previous landowner asked H to investigate a feature that he had initially thought was a cellar. L had initially felt that the feature was a cellar. It was after he had made a number of discoveries on the lot that he decided to go back there and look around. This time, in comparison to the stones that were found at the location, their research suggests that it is significantly larger and has a greater quantity of stones. In addition, Ladd and Alex claim that the currency and token were found at the place that is under investigation. Alex unearths a piece of pottery that was made in the middle of the 1700s and can be found on top of the stones that were buried. According to her, being on top does not indicate a building date, rather there it only indicates a habitation date. Being on top in their photograph to the left of the center TE, here are 2 pink flags that can be seen. These flags, which charge generally used to signify metal detector hits that have not yet been uncovered, can be seen. After Billy had returned to the marsh, he moved the excavator to their northeast so that it could dig in a spot that was more dry after the initial bucket has Been used. The small horseshoe is found beneath the surface since the 1400s. The blacksmith Skarmleg has been responsible for its establishment. He goes on to explain that there are no documented visits to the province that involved horses earlier to the year 1670, and that this particular horseshoe can be considered the oldest horseshoe that he has ever seen in Nova Scotia. According to him, this horseshoe is the oldest horseshoe that he has ever seen in the province after Lou and Alex have returned to Lot 5. They immediately begin examining the opposing sides of the fader in order to ascertain the degree to which the stone stretch. An excavation is a method that is more time consuming than this one. After further investigation, they find that the stones are organized in a circular pattern and that their pattern is uniform throughout the entire area. In addition, they arrive at the conclusion that it has a circumference of 13 feet, which is roughly equivalent to the size that the original Money Pit depression was believed to have had. Additionally, the same breadth as an initiation well in Portugal, which was a destination that members of the team visited as part of their trip in 2021. Their hypothesis states that it is a proof of concept, which is also commonly referred to as the original effort of the Money Pit. After that, they proceeded to continue excavating after supplying Rick with an update on the cell phone. The capital at the depth the original timber is bowed and there is a break in it, according to D, who informs Charles Barkhouse of this information. This information is presented at the garden shaft, which is located 4 shorter than the actual bottom of the structure. There is a widespread belief that a considerable amount of pressure would have been necessary in order to bring about that they are able to safely refurb down to that lumber, after which they may remove and replace it. However, this may cause their completion timetable to be delayed by many weeks than it would been otherwise.